Exodus and a bro fist to you all, you bright, shining, smiley people out there. Welcome to the Daily Preach, the only daily that matters. Of course, everybody knows that, right? Exalted Throne of Thunder, Isle of Thunder, not giving a shit. No more dailies to do. Except this one. Welcome everybody to the daily. We're going to have a nice dramatic daily, but that doesn't mean I'm going to tell a drama story, or am I? Kind of. Kind of. We're going to talk about the world first hardcore PvE people, the nerds, the people who apparently don't shower. If we go to MMO Champion, they don't shower, they don't eat, they don't get laid, right? Those guys, it's all true, man. It's all true. Super nerds. Super nerds. Can I point out, what are the most hardcore people in this game? Who plays the most in this game? Anybody? Anybody? Who plays the most and for the longest amount of time? It's pretty easy. It's a pretty easy answer. Me? No. Socials? Maybe. Not quite. Chief Whores? No. Rerollers? No. Our peers? No. See, they've managed to... Zonkers has kind of got it. They've managed to slip under the radar since vanilla. Since vanilla, they've managed to slip under the radar as actually being the biggest fucking nerds in this game. And it's the PvPers. I'm talking about the dedicated PvPers. Wow. Wow. But it's cool to PvP, so it's okay. So it's okay because it's cool to PvP. The PvP players, ever since this game came out, I mean the serious PvP players, no-life this game so fucking much, it is incredible. And I'm serious. Those guys are crazy. Really crazy. They don't think anything of going 12 hours a day doing arenas and BGs every day. They don't. They do it all the time. They do it all the time. They're the big guys. They slip under the radar though, because it's super cool to be PvPing. Because it's hard and stuff, right? It's not scripted, okay? Didn't know that Druid was going to cast Cyclone. Came out of nowhere, this unscripted event, right? I'm not going to mock PvP. Has its good stuff. Not just Wreckful. But really, take a look at the serious PvPers. They are on all fucking time, all day, all the time. And never take a break. Never take a break. They just keep going. Just keep going. They keep going. No offense, but I think Lappe tops me. Why do you say no offense? I like you, Nick Talf, but why the fuck would I be offended? Why? Stop saying no offense. All of you. Stop saying it before you say something normal. No offense, but I really enjoy breakfast. Why would I be offended? Anyway, I hate people who say no offense. It drives me crazy. No offense, but I'm going to take the bus today. Alright. Don't do it. It's weird. I'm not bigging on you, Nick Talf, but people say it all the time, and it drives me crazy. It's one of those things. It's like, it's one of those things. No offense, but I like my headphones. Why would anybody be offended? Why would anyone be offended by that? Okay. Exodus. I was kind of a dick about Exodus yesterday, wasn't I? Some people took offense to it as well. No offense, but I take offense. How good was that segue? Played for. Natural broadcasting skill right there. Yeah, no offense, but I said... yeah, so okay. Let's work it together. Yesterday I was like, no offense, but Exodus were never considered to be in the world first race. Yeah, I went there. I went there. I said that yesterday kind of off the cuffish, and people were like... Didn't you know Exodus just died? I was like, yeah. Well, no, not really. I didn't know they just died. But apparently they did. Who were Exodus? Good question. Who were Exodus? Exodus are forever world 4th or forever world 6th. That's who Exodus are. Some people know Exodus for one other reason. Does anybody know? Does anybody know what Exodus were really well known for? Come on. Who's the PvE heroes? Who's got their history all intact? I'd be glad to know. Which one of you know about it? Ooh. Oh, Thanzil like a boss. Yeah, they're the guild that got the first kill on Yogg-Saron Zero by exploiting the fuck out of it, right? But didn't say anything. We're like, world first, bro! Ooh! And everybody in the world, in the PvE world, went, you must have cheated. And that feels kind of harsh when you get some big kill, and so far nobody has proven anything. Everybody in the PvE world went, you guys cheated. We know you cheated. But why do we suspect that? I feel kind of bad for Exodus. They've had a long history of not being quite world first-ish, but up there. But there is a world of difference between kind of world 4th to world 1st. I mean, a dramatic world of difference. There really is. So Exodus never really did anything monumental. They were always kind of close. They were almost there, but they never really did anything. They got that Yogg-Saron exploited kill, then they got banned. And everybody knew, it was no secret that they cheated, because they're just not going to get the world first. And that's why I said yesterday, don't worry about it. They may have got, I think they got a world 5th and a world 4th in the last tier. Nobody suspects they're going to get a world first. But now they've died. And after recently merging with the guild Vodka. Vodka, another major player, apparently. Major player on the US scene. Merging with them, taking some of their players, absorbing them to make a stronger, healthier team. Have now decided they're going to call it quits this week. They said they're not going to do it anymore. No, that's okay. Guilds die all the time. In fact, world first guilds, and the top 10 guilds, I should say, die more often than anything else because it's not easy. It's not easy. It requires a lot. And killers. This isn't quite bandwagoning. I think this is still relatively small and well worth a discussion. Killers is kind of notorious in himself as not being the nicest fellow to be around. Kind of known throughout the community as not being the nice fella. Certainly a great rogue, but like all rogues, they like to, you know, stab you in the back sometimes. Not me personally. Not me personally. But yeah, great rogue, not a particularly nice guy. A lot of people didn't like him. I personally never cared, never followed him, never did anything like that. Now, Killers was a member of Exodus, and he came out and said, look, I'm going to take it to the good book. I'm fucking serious. He took it to the good book. You ready? You ready? The good book. The good book. So you know it's serious, right? It's in the good book. I take it as a good book. I'm going to give us like a breakdown of what happened here. Now, this is the bit that's kind of interesting. I don't particularly care if it was Exodus or Guild X or whoever wrote it. I don't care. I don't particularly care. But the points he made are actually relatively cool and kind of something we should think about. The reason they broke down wasn't because we couldn't get the people. Wasn't because content is too hard. Wasn't because the content wasn't good. Surprisingly, you might expect it, oh, this game's shit. Most guilds quit on that big sort of we're better than everybody else kind of thing, right? Game's shit now. Don't care. Like SK did. Not SK. What were they called? The merged team. Insidia? Insidia is like, oh, well, we did Firefighter, so that's it now. With YOLO swag, not doing it anymore. And they kind of got a bit like that, but this wasn't like that at all, actually. And it's kind of interesting points. Is that they've gone too hardcore. And this is kind of something I touched on a while ago. I kind of made the point that the best players in this game certainly are not the players in the top guilds in the world. There'll be a couple up there, but the best players, no. Because being good at the game isn't actually a deciding factor in whether or not you're going to get a top ranking. It isn't. Especially when you're going for a world kill. You can get DPS world first, and sort of healing to a lesser extent, tanking stuff, not really. But if you're looking for something really stand out, then you don't have to be in a top guild to do that. You have to be in a guild that's clearing the content, because gear is a factor in that. But you can do it at your own pace. That was one of the things I really enjoyed. One of the things I really enjoyed was getting my world first DPS, because that's what I could do. Now, when I left Method, some people were like, why are you doing that? Why are you leaving that? And I said, it's time. I just do not have the time. Now, some people take that as, I don't have the time to raid. That's not true. That's not true. It's not that I don't have the time to raid. If it was just raiding, I could do that. But the world first race is dramatically more than raiding. And it is. And this is what Killer's touched on. And he's actually blaming the raiding community for doing this. For the longest time, we've seen that Blizzard has stopped pretty much catering to the top players. It's not worth their time. It's pointless. Raden is kind of a good example of that. People complain that Raden is a terrible boss, including me. It's just badly designed. It's uninteresting. It's boring. Let's take into account how many people Blizzard expects to see Raden. Not a lot. They're not going to throw a lot of money at the secret heroic end raid boss that you get after you clear everything on heroic. They're not going to throw a lot of time of that, and they're certainly not going to throw a lot of creativity into that. Why the fuck would they? Hardly anyone is going to get to see it. They know that. They know that 1-2% of people are probably going to be able to access this boss. It's not going to get seen. We're not going to throw a lot of money at it. The first couple of bosses... Why does this not save? My brain is doing things. Bring me back. There we go. We're back in the house. They're not going to throw a lot of money at it. They're not going to do that. No one's going to get to see it. So in this, I'm just going to kind of talk about it. Well, the game is not to blame. We're going to quote a little bit here. The game is not to blame. In the last few years, the game, despite many people quitting and guild dying, isn't to blame for the demise of another top guild. We have got too hardcore. We've made it too intense. We've made it ridiculous. To the point where people can't even take part in the race anymore. Entirely true. There is levels. As I say, in vanilla, the first time we saw a guild flask the whole raid, it was incredible. It was a next level of nerdiness. We just never expected anybody to go to that extreme to use flasks on everybody. That was crazy. That was absolutely fucking crazy. Then in TBC, we start seeing people log in at server uptime. That instantly cuts out so many people who can't take part in the race. We're raiding as soon as the server comes up. That's insane. Who's doing that? Who's taking time off work to do that? But then flasking has become perfectly acceptable, perfectly normal. We're doing this. Then people start raiding for 10, 12 hours. Then around ICC, people are gearing up a full alt raids. They're leveling new characters, complete alt raids, and are raiding 4 times a week now to gear up their entire alt raid. Then they start testing content on alts before even going to their mains. That is how ICC was done. A lot of you might not know that, but that's how ICC was done on the limited bosses. Professor Putricide, limited. Blood Queen, I'm going to forget somebody. I'm going to forget somebody. I kind of want to say, not Saffron, the other one. There was like 4 limited bosses, or 3. Or 3. So Syndragosa was up there. Blood, Putricide, Syndragosa, and Lich King. Yeah, all limited bosses. So how did the world first cope with that? They leveled brand new raids of alts, usually with the same character. So if you were a Shadow Priest, you would have to level another priest. And then you would raid on it like it was your main. Then you have to do your professions. Then you have to do your farming, your gems. Now we look at what's happening now. People are getting alts. They're having to do things like the Black Market Auction House, which is a major player. Some really good gear appears on there in the early raiding scene. They're also having to get coins. The top guilds, I don't know if you realise this, a lot of people hated doing the dailies when Mists of Pandaria came out, including me. I never bothered with any of the first reputations. I didn't bother. They were disgusting. They were so badly designed, I never bothered. The top guilds did it on multiple characters every day. Every fucking day. They did that on multiple characters, on alts. Can you imagine? Oh my god, how horrible that is to not even want to do that. They didn't want to do that. You had to do it. That is part of what you're doing. Like when people come to me, should I race change? Should I do this? If you have to ask the question, then no, you don't need to. If you have to ask me the question, you don't need to. So he made the point that progression never really ends. We're always competing. Even though we've killed this boss, I still have to just gear up my all. I still have to do that. And when you watch these streams, if some of you tune into Twitch during the week, you will see that lots of times the guilds are raiding on 2 characters. They're swapping in between. They're doing everything and anything to gear up other characters for the next race. And that's kind of the problem. Where's the sit back, relax thing? So many people are now excluded, and you have to make so many sacrifices to compete in the first world race. By literally taking time off work, doing all these things, preparing yourself, gearing up alts, and it never really ends. As soon as the fight finishes, we kill the last boss, we kill Raden. Well, we're just going to gear up alts now. We're going to raid twice a week, which isn't actually that bad. It's not that bad. That's not the bad thing, because those raids take place in 1 night, maybe 2 nights a week. That's the easy bit. Gearing up alts isn't a great thing. Isn't a difficult thing either. Getting coins, though, doing dailies, doubling up on all this kind of stuff, takes its toll. You can only imagine where you feel bad taking a day off, but you can build your coins up. I disagreed with him on the part that it never really ends. Progression never really ends. The progression race is that 2-week period, which is hardcore. Now, I could totally understand how that is detrimental to the World First race, because it excludes so many great players. Really, really good players who just cannot take part. They can't do it. And it's sad because they just can't take time off like that. I can't do it. I literally cannot raid with you because you raid at 2 in the afternoon or 1 in the afternoon every day. I can't do that. I have a wife, I have a family. I'm a great player. I'm talking about myself here. I'm talking about people who are really good at this game and deserve that world first. Just can't get it because we now raid in such hardcore, insane conditions. So that was one point. His next point, which I think is actually the truth, the really good point, is that the top guilds are eating each other alive. And this has been coming for a while. There aren't that many guilds left who are even in contention. Who's going to win the next 10-man race? More than likely. Anybody? Who's going to win? Method? Paragon. Who's the competition for Paragon? Who? Who's the competition? No one. No one at all. There isn't. There is no competition. It's ridiculous. That's the separation. That makes the point. That is the separation. There is no competition there. Perhaps some guild eventually will come up and start rising up to the challenge, or Paragon will decide it's not worth it anymore and not bother. But at the moment, the entire 10-man race is nobody. It's just a one-man race. People just expect it, and rightfully so. There's no one there to compete with them. The 25-man race is kind of almost the same. Unfortunately, right now it is Method. Blood Legion, trying and trying and trying. Maybe they have contention, but we're talking about 2 potential guilds in the 25-man race. That's how far the eating each other alive has come. If I was to go back and be a little bit rose-tinted about this, and I was to say who was going to win the 25-man race around TBC, I could reel off to you 4 or 5 guilds. Very, very quickly. I would say things like Forte. I would say things like SK. I would say things like Nylon. I would throw out a lot of names because the race wasn't as hardcore. It didn't require too much insanity to compete. I could easily throw out several guilds who were going to take part in that race, and it was a cool race. The 10-man race doesn't mean shit anymore. It's when our Paragon going to kill it, and that's pretty crazy. Yeah, 150 people out of 12 million competing at the top. But what happens is this. Forte died, absorbed into other guilds. That guild died, absorbed into other guilds. And over the last 4 years, they have literally been eating each other alive and killing the potential race. The race is now almost dead because they've absorbed everybody from wherever was good. And the old guilds have died off and perished and decided it's not worth it, as this has happened here. They've just died off. So what does this mean for the future? It actually means a good thing, because we're potentially looking at an almost hard reset of how this content is done. Or we're looking at the potential where the race doesn't matter at all. For the 10-man, it's already like that. The race is irrelevant. The guild's coming out and saying 10 doesn't matter anyway. Or not that 10 doesn't matter, it's a different race and there's no one else in it. It's a one-horse race. No one cares. People cheer for Paragon, fine. I cheer for them, I think they did a good job. But it's not a race. At best, the race is between them and a 25, which doesn't make any sense. And when it comes to the 25, we're looking at potentially 2 guilds max competing against each other. And then when you actually speak to the guys, they didn't even consider Blood Legion to be that much of a threat at all. Only at Lei Shen, because Twin Consorts was nerfed before them, and it was potentially easy. That was it. The World First race is a dying thing, and that's terrible. And every time these guilds need new players, potentially they're coming from the people who are in 6th or 7th, pushing them back down, or they raise it up again, and now we create this huge gap. This enormous gap that now exists. Really interesting stuff. I recommend you read this thread. I'm going to post it for you guys. I'm going to link it for you guys so you can read it after the daily. We want TBC back? No, what we want is, how could we solve this problem? How could we solve this problem? You can. This is a pressure and it's something that the players have done to themselves. The players have done this. You can't stop people when they raid. You can't say, okay, well, this content is only open from 4 PM till 8 PM, and after that it closes. It just doesn't work for the game. In fact, Blizzard probably doesn't even care. You want to raid super hardcore, go ahead. We really don't care. But what's happening is we're losing sight with what's potentially good and honest. Are these the best players in the game? Are these the people we should be looking up to? Or are they generally a hell of a lot of people who have a lot of free time and can organise themselves appropriately? It's a mix of both right now. There's some fantastic players, especially in the top guilds. Some really nice guys, some really good players. But also gradually we're moving to the idea of, can you raid from 12 PM till the middle of the night for a couple of weeks consistently? Yes. Then we'll give you a shot. We'll give you a shot. That's it. Separate lockouts? No, nothing. There's nothing you can solve this with. There is no way of solving this issue. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on anything you would think you could do something with this. Could you do something with this? Do you think it matters? A lot of people won't care. I care. I loved the World First Race. I adored it. I loved it in TBC. I loved it in Vanilla. I kind of loved it in Wrath of the Lich King. But that was kind of when the Paragon domination started. And you kind of expected they would do it. And they did. Rightfully so. Defeating Arthas a week before anyone else with 5% less damage. Which was incredible. Absolutely incredible. And it's kind of interesting. Despawn. I mean, the only option is limited time. In the instance. But again, in a game based in the internet world, can you do that? Can you limit people going in there? What if the server disconnects? How can that work? Is it tied to a character, so now we're bringing more and more alts? The interesting thing about players is that they find ways around things. There are a lot of guilds out there, and WoW Progress has been pretty cool about showing you how many tries certain bosses took these guilds. How many wipes it took. And you're starting to realise that some guilds took significantly less time to kill certain bosses. Significantly. By huge margins. Huge, huge margins. This is why I always give a shout out to my old guild, Darkstorm. They worked out they were one of the most efficient guilds in the world. They took the least amount of tries on many, many bosses and got some high rankings along with that. But they do it at their own pace. They raid for 3 hours. That's it. 3-4 hours, that's what they do. And I want to see... I want the race to care. I want you guys to care about the race. That's the thing. I want you to care. And I want to care again. Right now, I don't fucking care enough. There's not enough people in it. It's rubbish. I want to say, oh, maybe they're going to get it this time. Maybe they're going to do it. Because it's interesting. It's good for the game. It's healthy. It's good for me. It's good for you guys to give a shit and want to get in there and give these instances some love. Give this content some love. We're talking about the best raid scene ever created right now, potentially, with the Throne of Thunder. Overwhelmingly popular. But the race was kind of shit. Kind of shitty. I want to Kerrigan. I want to Kerrigan. I couldn't care less who gets it. I know you don't. And then you are in the right. You're in the right. Because there isn't much of a race there. There isn't much of a race. You don't care. Probably won't. It's kind of shitty, that. Because it's a good aspect of the game. It's a good thing to follow. And it's very cool. It is very cool. When there's an actual race, it's very cool. The last time we really saw this was around about tier 11. I want to say the first tier in Cataclysm was actually really cool. Odd bosses being killed, bosses in various instances, things that might not be able to be killed suddenly fell by different guilds, people pushing forwards. It's very healthy. It's very, very healthy. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Because we all try really hard. Or maybe we need a new system of how we judge this. Maybe the first guys to kill it isn't the big thing anymore. One thing that's definitely for sure is gradually we're losing those people. There aren't new fresh players hungry for this and good enough to do it. Not many. Not many. A lot have come from my community, which is awesome. A lot of you have now moved up. I get emails regularly. You're now in the top 50, top 20. And some of you have even gone from not raiding and you're in top 17 guilds now. That's awesome. So you've got world first DPSs now. So we're bringing it back in a hard way. But it's an interesting article. It's worth reading. It's very much worth reading. That's me done for the daily today. I hope you enjoyed that. And also maybe you don't really care about that. I know you don't really care about that stuff. But I want you to care. I want you to care because I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. It's interesting. Read the thread. Read the thread. It's pretty cool. Workshop is tomorrow. We have got a workshop tomorrow. I'm only cutting this one short because I don't know if you can tell. There's banging going on around me and barking. There's banging and barking going on. It's a good discussion. I really want to see your feedback on it. I really do. It's worthwhile because it's hard for new players to understand how cool the world first race can be. It's a very cool thing to be following. It's a very cool thing to be following. But we've made it, well, they've made it very, very hardcore on themselves. Banging and barking. A lot of banging and barking next time. Interesting topic. Have a think about it and post it on the YouTube video. Let me know what you say. Post it in the morning and see what we can discuss. And we'll talk about it on Thursday. It leaves you a couple of days to have some points on it. World first race. In general, post the comments if you don't give a shit and you never want to care about it. Or did you care about it at some point? These are the questions I want to leave you with. Did you care about it? What was your favourite time? What was your favourite race that you followed? Which things interested you? Or do you just not care? And remember, when a PvPer talks shit about a PvEer, remind them who's the actor. Yes, I am streaming after this. I'm going to be trying. My streaming game for tonight is going to be Star Trek Online. Kind of debated in the chat last night they wanted to see me play Star Trek Online, so we're going to be doing Star Trek Online in about 5 minutes. I'm going to get myself a drink. I'm going to get myself settled. And we're going to have a fun night of Star Trek Online. That's what we're going to do. We're going to play some Star Trek Online. Okay, so I'm going to take my quick break, get myself a drink, get the game set up, and then we're going to play. Thank you all for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow at 4 PM for the workshop. It's going to be good. Bye.